Hey everybody, it's Annie here. I am putting together a series of videos on how to make a super easy junk journal out of stuff you have around the house, probably. And I want to start with a box. So here's a sample of boxes that I have at my house. Just a candy box, Good and Plenty, one of my favorites, and Girl Scout cookies, blueberry muffin mix. Some of these are ready to go and become junk journals. Others are not so ready. I do sometimes, after I take the product out, this was in a plastic bag, so I know that even though it's meat, the cardboard is untainted by that meat. So, but sometimes when I'm cooking or whatever, I chop off all of the outside edges so that it's ready to go. And then other times I do not. Here's another one which would make a fine junk journal. So I have decided to use this one, and it measures, let's see, about 5.5 wide by 7.5 tall and 1 3/4. Yep, 1 3/4 on the spine. I have prepared this as far as taking all the edges off. Upstairs in the kitchen when I'm cooking and I take the edges off, I do it kind of roughly just to get rid of them. Let's see if this one is. Anyway, I can't find an example, but sometimes this ridge is left on. When I bring it downstairs to my craft room, I put it in my my swing arm chopper, and sometimes I have to fold it like this to get it to be able to get the whole thing in, because I think it's 12 inches and something like this wouldn't fit the whole length of it. So I line it up like this, hang it over a little bit, and then chop it off, swing it around, and do the other side as well. But you can, if you're very careful and patient, you can get that same smooth edge with scissors. So what I've decided to do is use this, and because it looks like a book to me already, right? I like the size of it. I think it'll be really good. So I've also decided to use this Tim Holtz Ideology Wallflower papers from this collection. And the papers that I have chosen already are, I like this one for the back, and I like this section with flowers for the front. And then the inside covers, I don't love that portrait, so I think I'll use this for the inside, and I think that goes nicely with both of these papers. So this will be the inside on both, if I can stretch it that far. And if not, I'm pretty sure there's a second one of these in the paper pack. So the way I'm going to start is, these are very, and you can see that I didn't tear this out well. I think it was glued there, and that's why it's stuck. But that doesn't matter, because I'm not going to use the whole thing. What I've decided to do is, let me get rid of this. I am going to kind of audition like this and use my imagination to see where the edges are. And then I'm just going to take my pencil, and I'm going to stop a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to go like 1/4 inch from all sides. So let's just do it this way. I'm butting this up against the, let's do it this way. Yeah, okay, so I made sure that all the flowers were covered by the top edge, lining this up against this edge, and then I'm going to go all the way to the spine. I am going to cover the spine with muslin, but I will cover it with some paper also, maybe an offcut here from this. Anyway, so I'm going to the spine and drawing a line all the way to the edge. Okay, and then take my ruler and join those two lines. So here's the edge, and there's the end of that line. Okay, that's close enough. So then I'll cut that out. And actually I'm going to use my swing arm again. Sorry, I can't move it over to that table because it is bigger than the space I have available. If you know what I mean. So the other thing I'm going to do with this, hang on. So the other thing that I'm going to do with this is I want this to be inside all of the edges because I'm going to use my black masking tape around all of the edges underneath the outside papers. So this needs a little bit more trimming, and I'll be right back. And actually, I'm just going to mark it like this. Because with the swing arm, you don't get to be really precise for your first couple of cuts, I find. If you're cutting into a really big piece of paper anyway. Let's see what that looks like. It's off over here. And I'm going to go down to there and leave that there. Okay, so I took off a very long triangle. Let's see if I got it right. Yep, I think that's good. Okay, so now what I can do is use this as the measure for the back piece of paper. And again, I want these butterflies, so they don't have to be right in the middle, and they won't be if I go to the edge, and that way I'll get the most use out of this paper. Yeah, that looks good. Like that. I really do like the way the black masking tape looks peeking out on the edges underneath the papers. So make my first cut with scissors just to get us close. Sorry, I'm standing up while I do this. And I forgot to say, this is really kind of for my friends Julie and Beth. Hi, Julie and Beth. Almost there. Okay, so I do find that when I push down with my swing arm cutter, it's very old, so it's, it's not quite, the measurements, the board is kind of off, I think, and it's sometimes a challenge. Anyway, let's see what I now did with the box. Here we go. Anyway, what I was saying is, when I push down, if I push, not just straight down, but toward the cutting platform, I get a better cut. And sometimes I forget to do that. Okay, so I like this, and I like that. Okay, and then I am gonna find, oh, you know, I have this from one of these sides. I think it's from the front here. Yeah, so maybe I will just, since I'm gonna cover this whole thing, I'm just gonna cut off that ridge right there so that it's really, really flat. And maybe this will come off as well. Yep, just that little bit right there. So it's extra flat. Okay. So now, yeah, and that fits in there pretty well. Okay. So I'm trying to think if I want to put this on the inside or the outside. I think if there's any chance of it showing through the muslin, I want it on the outside because I don't want that to show through. But yeah, actually I don't think it matters. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I do with the tape. And it really doesn't matter if you do it in several pieces or one piece, whatever is manageable for you, because, oops, because sometimes it tears like that and you're not working with the piece as long as you thought you would, or, you know, sometimes it's just not manageable. Okay, so first, this, I'm going to glue this down. And I'm using 3-in-1. I think this is my new bottle. Nope, it's not my new bottle. Let's see how well it works. I just found the new one. I mean, I just spied it on my desk. This is not working that well. You know, the problem is I took off that paper, that liner, in all except for the new bottle. So what I think I'll do is use the new bottle because it's so much better. You can see that the liner is still on there, and I do think that makes a big difference in how well this flows. So, and I like the 3-in-1 on this type of a box because it's a shiny surface, and I think this will really, really grab. And that's what we want. We want a lot of grab. Okay. And then we need a card. And if it gets a little over onto the other edges, that's okay. All right, so shiny surface to shiny surface, just in case anything shows through, lining it up at the edges. Looks good. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Right, so, and this glue dries really fast, so gotta love that. I mean, it's not overly fast, but it's fast enough. And then I was gonna talk to you about these. Because baby wipes are in short supply at this moment because of COVID-19, I've gone to baby washcloths, which are reusable, and I just put them in this solution of, let's do it this way, of water. See, and I just have 2, 3, 4, 5 altogether. I can switch them out when I need to. It's just water and a little bit of whatever dish soap I had on hand. So what I do is take it out, wring it, and then I can just leave it out and not worry about it drying up. If it dries up, that's fine. I'll just pop it back in and take another one out. And if I need a dry surface right away, and I just put that by my desk. If I need a dry surface right away, I have my handy dandy, this is just a towel that we use around the house, you know, for dusting or whatever. So I have that right next to, both of those right next to my desk. Okay, so we have this spine down, and now we're going to go back to the tape. And I think what I want to do is go down here and do the thing I can see closer. I think what I want to do is probably do this off camera and come back to you, but I want to show you the beginnings of it. So I need some scissors. We'll use these. Just chop that edge off because it's going to be covered. And then I'm just going to go all the way around like that. And I'm going to do these edges as well so that it can poke out from underneath all four sides. Okay? All right. I will be back. Okay, I just have 2 more pieces of black tape to add, and I'll show you this part really quickly. So for this spine here, the edge of the spine, I'm just kind of lining it up. So I've lined this one up where I think the center is, and then just eyeballing it and putting it down. I'm kind of bending it. That stretches it on the inside, or on the outside, excuse me. And then folding it, right? So, looks good. And then the last piece I have to do is right here. And line it up. And it, you know what I wanted to tell you is it's really not important for you to get it, you know, exactly straight or exactly half on this side and half on the other side, because we're going to be covering it. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be black masking tape. I happen to love the look of black masking tape, and you can order it from Amazon. If I remember, I will put a link to order it on Amazon. It's not close enough. That's better. Okay. All right, so that is those parts done. I like it. Okay, this is the back, so we're going to put it back here, and you can already see why I love the black poking out, right? And here's the front. Yeah, that's really nice. And I know we don't have any... Yeah, sorry, I know I don't have any muslin ready for that, but this will maybe give you an idea. I haven't torn it. And that black may not show through, which is okay. It's just fine. But anyway, I like the way that looks, and maybe I'll stamp this with, I'll tear it so that there's a rough edge like this, tatty edge, and then maybe I'll stamp it with butterflies or writing or something. Okay, so I'm going to glue these down. And, oh, let's see. I think because I do like gluing the smaller piece, because you don't know how far to go on the larger piece. So I'm going to do that. Put the glue on the smaller piece. And really, you can use a white glue if you want. Let me see if I have one available quickly here. What's that? I do have a PVA glue. And it's not even open. Let's just keep using this, shall we? Or tacky glue. Let's use that. I think that'll be good. The 3-in-1 would also work, but so will this tacky glue. So we're going to make sure we get right up to the edge. And a nice big blob. So Sorry, the chair is so squeaky. Sorry. Thanks for the chair, Julie. But it is squeaky. And I think I need to lose weight because it likes to, the hydraulics like to go out, which makes me sink fast, which is a lot of fun. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to just smear with my finger because I don't know. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I like the feel of that. Then I can tell if I'm getting it in a nice even coat. And it's not terribly flat even, but you know what? I think it's good enough. Almost. So close, and right up to the edges. Right? I think that'll be good. And center it on this front cover, lining it up, pressing it down, and then try not to get too much of that everywhere. Yeah, isn't that pretty? Pretty. Let's do that again. Have glue on my finger. I don't always like stuff on my fingers. Glue is okay. So basically just squishing a whole bunch out. If you get too much, you can always wipe it off. I wipe mine into the trash can directly, right? I do like these Aleene's glues, the new ones that have the stand-up top, so that it's always ready to go. I like that a lot, because I'm one of those impatient crafters. I'm sure a lot of us are like that. I want that glue out now. Sometimes I'll tell you I use multiple glues on whatever project just to really make sure that, I don't know, I'll use one on the inside of the paper and one on the outside edges. Okay, let's make sure we put this on right side up. Okay, looking good. So the thing about the white glue is it takes a little bit longer to dry than the 3-in-1. That's okay. You know, I don't need to be poking any holes into this stuff yet, so, okay. Good. Put that back, dry my fingers off. Okay, so now on the inside, so remember our spine is already now twice as thick, which it feels pretty sturdy, actually. I mean, for a book this size, it doesn't need to be overly sturdy. It's really good. Though, I could put, where's my paper? This won't go quite all the way across, and I just realized I do need to put some tape on the inside here. So let's do that. And because I have this on the outside already, this front piece, I'm not going to put this tape over the edges like I did from the front to the inside. So I'm going to be cutting or trimming somehow, maybe like this. I'm going to be trimming it right now. Okay, yep, that's good. And those edges, you really will not see them. Pop that in the trash. Do that one more time. Line this up. feel I already need to unstick these scissors. Okay, so there, that's good. I really like it. Okay, just put my finger in some glue in the trash. Okay. All right, so that's good. And what I was thinking is I'll use this side, but it won't go all the way across if I, you know, just use the one solid piece. So what I think I'll do is I'll measure this using the front cover, because that's such a smart way to do it. So I'm going to cut to there, and then, like so many of you, I do not like to measure. It's as good as it gets, right there. So I'm just lining it up on my swing arm cutter, cutting. That's one cut, and I need to find the other mark. Okay, so I have that. There it is. Okay. Lining it up on the grid that I think is not accurate. Just one cut. Just put those together. Okay. So what I did was I cut the one, and then I just lined it up with the bigger piece and lined it up on the cutter and removed the top one and made this the other cut. So this is a little bit bigger on the inside, which shouldn't be a problem. Yep, that looks nice. Maybe we want these two, the white-ish parts, to be kind of together. And honestly, I do think that's going to be covered by the muslin, because I do like to wrap it all the way around. I like to loop it and then have the two fringes up here, one on the inside and one on the outside, and fringy at the top. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to glue these down just exactly the same way I did the front. So I'll be right back. Okay, I have both of those down, and I just wanted to tell you a couple of things so far about what I've done so far. First of all, if you don't have, these are baby washcloths. If you don't have baby washcloths, you don't have to go out and buy any. Use an old washcloth that you have at home. I just happen to have these, and I thought, well, it's a good size to put in there. I would have cut up rags or an old t-shirt or an old flannel nightgown or whatever, you know. Flannel nightgown, you might have to sew the edges around to make sure that you don't have so many little fuzzy pieces coming off. Anyway, use whatever you have. And the other thing is that several people I've seen believe and like the fact that you can do this with baby wipes, and it kind of helps the paper to stick a little bit better. I also do believe that, and I just went through and wiped all 4 of these boards. So, and they feel like they're really, you know, sturdy. So anyway, okay, that's where we are. This is not covered, and this is not covered. And I will rip up some, actually, let's do that. Let's just do it. Need some scissors, maybe these sticky ones. Yeah, let's just wipe those off. I do try to do this, you know, regularly, as opposed to wait until it's horrible and impossible and you need to buy new scissors. especially with the expensive scissors, right? Okay, so now let's see where we want this. I don't mind if the black shows through. I think that'll be a great look. What's on the other side? Yeah, I think I'll put something there. I do think I will. Let's do that. And then, because I think some of it will show through a little bit, and that's okay. So this needs to cover folds, right? Needs to cover over here a little bit, like this much probably. So that will be like to there. That should be good. And I'm doing it a little bit wider, just a touch. Right. And then I will also put something on the inside here because, you know, because. For right now, let's do this. Make that side up. Even though you're not going to be able to see details, it could be either side up. I just like the other side better. And now that I'm doing this, I really hope I pushed record. I'm going to stand up and see if I did. I did. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. It's counting, so I did. Okay, good. Good job, Annie. And then that. Okay, so it's pretty good. There's no right or wrong, no up or down. So, putting that in the center. And this is just the offcut, so it's good. And then when I feel like this gets too gluey, I will trade it out for one that's already in there. And I haven't seen anybody else do that, so I'm sure other people are doing it. I just haven't seen anybody. Okay, so I'm gonna find another strip for this, and I'll be right back. All right, I cut another strip from that guy's portrait. So, just going to glue it on here, and then we'll be ready to do the spine with muslin. And for that I will use the 3-in-1, which is the same as Fabri-Tac, Fabrifix, but slightly cheaper. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same stuff. That is my opinion, though. Okay, that looks good, doesn't it? And just mop up this glue first. And again, there is no right or wrong, up or down, so just center it. And that looks good. Okay. So something other people do, which I always forget to do, is use the, whoops, there goes the box, is use the card and kind of spread the glue around, but I feel like I've done that with my finger well enough. So I guess if I felt that I hadn't, I would use the card. Okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, then, that's the wrong end. I'll use the other end. And again, I like to do it so that it wraps around the bottom, comes up to the top. And there are two tatty edges at the top. Tattered edges. Yeah. I just really like that look. I'm trying to get rid of those. So I know I'm going to pull it pretty tight when I glue it down. and I can take off more later, but I'm going to go right there. Okay, so muslin is a little bit on the thin side, which is why it's good to have the spine here. And on that note, if you don't have any muslin and you don't want to do it, or you don't want to do it, you can just leave it this way. But again, I really, really like the look of the muslin. So I'm doing it. It's just a little extra step. Okay, top is that way. And I do like to cover just the spine first. And I'm going to use my finger again, because I'm putting a really good coat down. Because then I can tell exactly where it is, and I'm getting it into that crease. Yep. Making it nice and thin. Good, good, good. Okay, that looks really good. And then I'm just going to start at the top, and I'm going to make sure that's the top. Yep, it is. Okay. That's good. Right, then I'm going to go back and do the edges here. Just right on the black, and it'll squish over a little bit onto the paper when I smooth it with my finger. Yep. Okay. Same on this side. Helps if you can see what you're doing. That is always helpful. So when you don't get it nice and flat like this, that's when you get like lumpy bumpies under your fabric. And I'm okay with it showing like this because that will continue to show. I'm still okay with it because it's that black edge and I like it. Okay, so this looks good. I'm going to turn it around here because then I will be able to pull better with my dominant hand. And again, just on the spine up to the creases. And a good, good layer that I will now smooth out with my already gluey finger into the cracks there and down on the bottom here a wee little bit. Okay, right, that's nice and flat. Okay. Lovely. And then same on this side, start in that corner, just on the black part. I didn't get really a lot in there. It's better. Good. And then the other side. Good. Right. So, just going to stretch that out a little bit. Both sides. Make sure it's in the creases. That's looking really good. Okay, so see what I mean about the tatty top and on the inside and the outside. I do like that look. I have put it on the bottom before, but I don't know, I like the top. I like it on the top, then it doesn't get, smashed when you put it on a bookshelf. Okay. That looks really good. I do think I want that down right there. It just kind of bugs me a tiny bit. I guess I use my already gluey finger. Yeah, better. Okay, so this can have a little bit more glue. Yeah, I do like it when it lays a little bit flat. I don't mind a little bit of curl up there, but I like it flat, mostly flat. All right, I'll come back in a bit. I'll do the next thing.